Sean here, and welcome to this blues lesson. For this lesson I've chosen to talk to you about one subject that is really important, which is what is blues power? How can you use that in your playing? And at first I want to talk to you about the misunderstandings, how not to use the blues feeling. And then I will show you some examples on how to use it, in a great way that's really useful. And at the end of this video I will show you a small exercise on how you can move the energy from your heart and your brain down to your fingers. And it's very, very important. It's just as important as learning scales and learning improvising and though it's there are very few lessons about blues power or blues feeling, what it is. That is really strange, because it's not just something that is there when you have the feeling and then you play. You have this gut sent feeling and then you play in great solos. It's not working like that, because when you play a gig, you might be nervous. There's a lot of noise around you. Maybe you have a little bad stomach. Maybe you have been out too late in the evening, and so you didn't sleep that well. So you are not inspired at all. But you find the feeling, because you know your feelings. You know how to canalize your feelings down to your fingers, and you add the feeling when you want it, not when you feel like. That is a big misunderstanding. But okay, let me try to take the two biggest misunderstandings, the two extremes, and after that I will show you how to add this blues power to music. I need some water, all this talking. Okay, the two first examples, I know them from my students, because I have been teaching so much. And the one misunderstanding is that the student he hasn't contact to his feelings at all on the guitar. So and maybe you tell him, try to add some feelings. It sounds great. These scales you play sounds great, but try to add some feeling. And he says sure, and then he continues to play it just the same way, without any feeling. So it's hopeless. With some students it's actually a little hopeless, because you can tell them so many times and they say sure and they continue the same way. They don't have the contact to their feelings on the instrument. Maybe in other areas of life, but not on the guitar. And the other opposite student is the one where I say, show some feelings, sure, and he steps on it, and in less than a second, he's up 200 kilometers per hour, and he just goes out there. And these solos are inevitably ending as a flop, because he cannot go any further. He just keeps the tension, plays loud, and from the first second plays, gives all he has. So instead of making a steady progress, he just uses all his feeling in the first notes, and where does he go from there? It's hopeless, and inevitably these solos will end as a flop. Okay, but how then to use this blues feeling in a playing situation where you play a guitar solo? A quite common way is to steady raise the tension until you reach the climax, and then you go a little bit down again, and then you have the ending of the song. Then you step gradually, add more tension to your guitar solo, and that's probably the most used way. And if you want an example on how I do that, you can go and look under videos on my front page. You look at after videos, and then the most popular and then the video is called Ain't Nobody's Business, and then a 1 is the sign 1, beautiful chord connections, ... If you go and look at that video, you will see how it's almost, this is the way you can do that. I start, it's a slow blues, 8-bar blues, and I start the first turnaround by just playing the melody with the thumb. When you play with the thumb, it's a very soft sound you get on the strings, and I don't improvise it per se. I just play the melody, and it sounds smooth and nice. It's a really nice way to start a solo. Then, with the second turnaround, I use my willpower to add some tension. And I take also on the right hand, I start to play with my pick. I play a little more loud, and I add a little more tension to my fingers. So the vibratos get a little more vibrato. I play a little louder. I use the pick, making a more sharp sound. Then when I come to the third turnaround, I just give all I have, or at least I start at a high point and I go even higher at the ending. You can see, boom, it's a climax of playing. I'm totally into the feelings. But it's in a controlled way, because by starting softly, I can make this slow progress and end with a climax, and then a little bit down and an ending. The funny thing is that I'm also a Danish teacher, that this is the way that most authors that write the books. So it's a that is a really great way to play a guitar solo, especially if it's just a free 8-bar turnaround solo. If you play a longer solo, like John Scofield, for instance, I need some water, all this talking. If you want to play a longer guitar solo like jazz great John Scofield does, then maybe you need to, inside the one turnaround, he raises the tension and he releases the tension, and he does that all the time. So that is another way, which is not linear, but is more cyclic way to think a guitar solo. That's a great way too. But I like to play smaller solos, like 3 to 8-bar turnarounds. I don't like to play them any longer. As I was a young kid and I started playing guitar, I played 15 minutes long solos. Now I like more that it's a small composition, and I end it after the third turnaround. I hope you understand this this way of starting slowly, playing maybe with your thumb the first turnaround, then you add tension to the strings. You take from your brain or your heart, and you add tension to your fingers in the third. It should not be too wild, but a lot more tension. And then the third turnaround, then you give all you have, and you reach a climax, and you can really look at my face. I'm really out there when I play solos like that. And then you get a little bit down, and you finish the solo. That's a great way. And here at the end of the solo, I will show you how to practice this, because it's not about being inspired and by God and so, because as I told you at the beginning of this guitar lesson, that if you stand in a playing situation, maybe you don't feel so good, you don't feel good in your stomach, and maybe you didn't sleep well, and so, but you have to find these blues feelings anyway. So it's a willpower to find blues feeling and graduate it, and gradually have this progression in feeling and tension. And a great way, I almost said it many times through this video, but if you sit with your guitar, you can play some lines like this. Then you can add tension. Try to look at my face. You know, it's really, you have to give what you have and canalize all your feelings down in the fingers, from your brain, from your heart, whatever. You can really look at my face, that it's not, I think by starting to play, to add tension down here, with a lot of vibrato, a lot of tension, I think that you connect to your inner feelings by doing, you can do it technically at first, much more powerful playing, more loud playing, and with a lot more, especially with a lot more vibrato. It's really difficult for me to even make such a vibrato without connecting to my inner feelings. Because if you don't connect to your inner feelings, it doesn't sound right. So it's about, you can play without any tension at all, and then and this is not theater, you know. When I have this in my face look, it's true. You know, you start. In the start, it's a willpower when to add this blues feeling and when not to. That is really willpower, and that's the important thing about this lesson, that it's a willpower thing, so that you can find it whenever you want to